while you're trying to create prepotency, which is the ability to pass traits, you're ignoring the most obvious thing you have, which is the mitochondrial DNA, as a way to pass traits. So while you're trying to line breed on the male, you're ignoring what's right in front of your nose, the female.
The female is important too because you get to see different aspects beside what you wouldn't see with a male, like litter size.
And also you get to see if she's influential or not. I was able to evaluate the female based on what her production is with a different male. What was the common denominator? The mother. And she had a lot of puppies that looked like her, that were sable, and they had her body structure. When I did her embark COI, it was 30%, which was surprising to me because she was only a line breeding of 4-4 and a dog named Bandit van Oberhauser. So I said, why would a 4-4 cause such a high COI? I believe it or not, I asked ChatGPT because it's becoming a tool. So the tool said there's something called ROH, runs of homogeneity, and Bandit van Oberhauser was a very prolific dog which sired a lot of males and females. So even though she's not that related to him, a lot of that gene pool in Germany, which these working dogs come from, had so much of his influence 4 or 5 generations back that whether you like it or not, you do what's called backmassing. In other words, line breeding is cumulative. So people only look at the first 3 generations. That's actually incorrect because if an ancestor is repeated several times in the pedigree, he is brought forward in the pedigree, like we discussed in the video called backmassing versus backbreeding. And I showed people how to read a pedigree. And then I showed a cousin strategy where they have the common grandfather or great grandfather, where if you repeat the same great grandparent often enough, 5, 6, 7 times, he becomes a super influencer. He becomes a bottleneck, but a desirable bottleneck. In other words, inbreeding is cumulative. So when you're breeding in the family, let's say you're breeding on this particular dog, well, you're not just inbreeding on that particular dog. You're inbreeding on what that dog carries. And therefore, by doing that dog, you're also inbreeding on everything that makes that dog up, which is his parents and grandparents. So in inbreeding on dog X, well, guess what? You're also inbreeding on dog X's parents and grandparents as a consequence, so whether you like it or not. Now, so because she has so much consolidation of genes, it's called long runs of ancestry, long ROH chains. She's stamping type no matter what she's bred to. She was not a very consolidated female. She was a very open pedigree female. The quality of the male determined the puppies because she was just a vessel passing the male's characteristics. But in a consolidated female, no matter the male, she determined the quality of the puppy. And so if you have a high quality female, you could breed her to a rock and still get good quality puppies.
All right. Or you call that prepotent, right?
Prepotency, right? And so basically the quality of the female, a high quality female, even when partnered with a weak male, will still produce high quality puppies. But the opposite is not true. A high quality male partnered with a weak female will not produce good puppies. That's a fact. In most breeding strategies, the focus is on the male, not on the female. So the strategy is carried forward by the father and his best son. In fact, that's how Brackett's formula works. The father and his best son is one line, one half, and the father's granddaughter is bred to that son. So it's a male-centric view, right? But in a female-based strategies, the males are used in furtherance of the female. So it's the female you care about, not the male. So the male either complements the female or he doesn't. The reason you want a two-rail approach is that you have sister one and sister two from the same mother, either they're full sisters or half sisters, and you try male one with sister one and male two with sister two. Cast them aside. You sell all those puppies, you keep none of it. If this male with this sister didn't produce what you wanted, you cast them aside and you try the next heat. The males are used whether they complement the female or not. If they don't, the puppies are sold and another male is tried in the next heat cycle. Now, the reason it's two is because if one rail collapses, the other rail still functions.